I call to order the Commissioners Court meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
David Fuentes, Precinct 1.
Eddie Cantu, Precinct 2.
Joe Flores, Precinct 3.
Ellie Torres, Precinct 4.
That constitutes a quorum. Let's go ahead and get our Pledge of Allegiance out of the way. Today we're honored to have Mr. Samuel Perez Jr. He's an Assistant Veteran Service Officer in the Veteran Services Office. He'll be joining us to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. Mr. Perez is a veteran staff sergeant of the U.S. Air Force and is an Iraq war veteran with 3 deployments who served from March 2002 to February of 2010. Sergeant?
Thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Judge and Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the prayer, please?
Let us pray. Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for the county. We ask for your blessing and your guidance. Amen.
I have a motion to recess the Commissioners Court.
Could I, since it is open and my item on the regular agenda would then just recap what we just discussed, and I'd be out of your hair?
Well,
we
Could
still
we do it?
Well, I don't think procedurally, I think we need to go back to the workshop so that we can,
adjourn the workshop.
well, finish and finalize the discussion, because I think there was still I think Commissioner was going to.
Yeah, so I have a motion to recess the court meeting.
You know what I was saying?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Do I need a motion to reconvene the meeting? May I have a motion to reconvene the Commissioners Court meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We're now back to the approval of the consent agenda, I believe.
Judge, Commissioners, with your permissions, I do have one correction to make. The correction on the consent agenda would be item 5A1D, and the correction is,
Hold on, correction, too.
I'm sorry?
We're gonna take that separate, right? You're gonna approve the consent agenda, then go to the item you're pulling.
Okay, if we can pull 5A1D consent agenda. Item 1D.
Do I need a motion for that?
Please.
Okay, may I have a motion to pull item 5A1D
Yes, sir.
from the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
There are seconds.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioner, with respect to the consent agenda item on the floor, 5A1D, there is a correction. Unfortunately, on the Sharyland water supply, the water line states a 3/4 inch. That is actually a 1 inch water line. Correction, from 3/4 inch to 1 inch water line.
So motion to approve with that correction.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Marty, you're back.
Okay, 5A1 is going to be to proceed with the RFP. We're going to commence this Saturday with the final directions and recommendations that were made by the court informing, there's option 1, direct from carriers, option 2, informing the carriers that the court will have the ultimate selection of the agent or agents.
How many agents?
I don't know, the court they'll have the option. We're having them list a minimum of 3, but that the final decision on the agent of record or agents of record will rest with the court.
If we have one.
If we do that at all.
Motion to approve as presented during the workshop.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item two are two contracts that court has asked that we place on the agenda for discussion and any action they wish to take. They are, the first one is your energy consulting contract with Mr. Robert Peña, which expires September the 6th of this year.
So if we were to consider other options, would we have to start the process now, or do you start the process September 6th?
Well, if you start it now, I don't think you have time to be able to award something, since the window of opportunity for your best pricing in the market is summer. So, as I said.
Hold on. But I get that. I saw the email. Can you try to answer my questions, just so that I know the options?
Okay, the option, if we let this, you can let it terminate on its own. You can start the process, and sometime if we get on the agenda on the 30th, you would then start the process of an RFP, and it would take at least 6 weeks.
So if,
Can you start the process earlier?
I'm sorry.
Can we start the process Tuesday? If we needed
The
somebody.
court
who
wants
wants
that direction. I just have to ask a question, would that mean terminating this because we're in the middle of we're releasing the RFP to the direction the court took, which is
Yeah.
to all the co-op vendors and aggregation pools.
Commissioner, I've been reading some of the documents. I think we really need a legal opinion to answer this question. If we were to decide to want to look for an energy consultant, do we release ourselves from this obligation that we have today? Because it appears like there's a couple of wordings in the agreements that may require us to continue.
That may impact us.
That may continue to pay this consultant if we keep the same vendor. I
Okay, so
think.
basically, if you terminate, you can terminate the agreement, and then we would be left with having to go forward on our own, because if we wait to have the new consultant, then you're not going to have the optimum
But
time.
Marty, I'm trying to comply with our duties to the consultant based on what we agreed to.
I understand.
And I think that we need a legal opinion to tell us what those duties are, so that we can abide by the duties that we have. Once we abide by the duties we have with this consultant, so we choose to go out and request somebody else's, then we do so. But I'm not sure what our duties are with this consultant yet. There seems to be some ambiguity in.
Correct.
In what that means.
May I ask a question? Did you just say that the contract expires September?
The 6th.
So even if we gave 30-day notice, we'd be at August 23rd. You're less than 2 weeks away at that point in time from the expiration of the contract. So if it takes 6 weeks, we haven't gone out for bid on a consultant, so why would we not have done that already in anticipation that the contract was going to expire on the 6th?
Because the court had not given us direction on what they wish to do once his obligation was done. The ambiguity
The only
is,
problem is we don't have those tickled in our calendar. It's impossible for us to tickle that. I mean, contracts?
no,
It's hard enough to keep track of our engineering contracts, architectural contracts, soil, geotests, all that. There's no way we're gonna have the electric guy on our calendar.
as far as any extensions or renewals, I don't see that we have any way to extend or renew him.
Well, according to the contract,
I understand that, Judge. According to the contract, we're tied to the current contract with Reliant,
but
with him.
did you read my mind? I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say that the last extension would have gone only to 2018. So we're really, or does it expire in 19
It expires in 19.
with the extensions?
With the extensions, it expires this year, September.
Okay, well,
There's two schools of thought to think about this. It either expires September 6th, or using the rationale that we used
Yeah.
last year to
The original
extend
contract was from 2015 to 2017, and with one year
with
option.
1 year extension.
1 year extension.
Correct.
Okay, so from 1 year from 2017 is what?
18.
And we're where?
We're 19.
So how did we get there?
We got there because,
So Judge, we're still paying this consultant because the contract and the payment terms allow for him to recover payment through the life of the current retail energy contract. So I think the question would be, is the contract still in effect? And if so, how? Or are we just obligated to make payment under the previous contract?
Okay, well, now you hit the issue, because the contract that we have with them expired back a year ago, back in September 2018.
well, the DA,
The reason that we're continuing to pay him is that contract said he will continue to get paid if we continue to use the same vendor, which is different. Paying him is different than using him as a consultant. As I read it, that's why I'm asking you as a lawyer what our duties and obligations are, because I think,
well,
And I think the dilemma going forward is if we engage the consultant in assisting with going forward with a new procurement process for an energy retail company, because under the previous agreement we had with the consultant, wherein the court had the option to renew or extend if the expiration of the contract was within 90 days of the expiration of the retail energy contract, would that obligate us then going forward to continue paying him for the next retail energy contract? I think that's my understanding of what the question for the court is.
Without a change in the extension.
Without a change in the extension, but I think, first and foremost, we have to determine whether or not we're just paying on the previous contract or whether the contract was extended.
what did I ask you? I said I need to know what our duties to the consultant are. Okay,
And
I think that's what I said.
well, at the very least, our duties are to pay him through the expiration of this retail contract.
And to continue
Which
to
is
pay him
November
if we
30th.
use the same vendor under the same terms and conditions.
That
For the new contract, that's what the contract says.
that would be the
That's
case.
what the contract says. Yep.
I-
But I'm
stay-
not a lawyer.
stay there.
I'm gonna have to
Please.
wait for you to tell me.
But that being said, and I hadn't seen that, but I'm glad you brought it up. That should not preclude us from bringing in another consultant, if that's the wishes of the court, so that we can bring in other bids, see what the best bid is. And if it happens to be this one, then we need to put something in our documents that say, thank you for helping us, new energy consultant, and here's your fee, but we're obligated to pay this other individual because of the contract he signed previously. But just because there's a possibility that he gets paid from now on, shouldn't preclude us from having other options and weighing other companies and so forth. We just have to know that it may be that he's gonna continue to get paid if this company remains.
Well, and then the other thing, Commissioner, is we have no legal duty to go out for proposals for energy. We're exempt, correct?
well, we have a choice. If,
Okay, we have a choice, but we don't have to.
well, no. Well, I mean, you've chosen, the current agreement with Reliant expires November 30th. So after November 30th, you go on a floating rate. So we
They go
have
up,
to
you go down.
secure a new energy provider. And you
Are you talking about
decided,
energy provider or energy consultant? What was your
An
question?
energy provider, we do not have to go out and solicit bids for that. We can directly deal with them. We can go out for bids for a consultant, but not for an energy provider.
well, you did still have the option to do a bid on an energy provider, but you have decided, Judge, in the last,
I haven't decided anything.
no, the
I wasn't
court
here when y'all
decided
made
to
those contracts.
send proposals to cooperative awarded contracts, aggregation pools.
You're always, Marty, you're always one step ahead, and it's confusing. Let me tell you why. What he's asking is a question. His question is, can we pick a provider? That's a question. What you're saying is the history is, this is what we did last time. That's not an answer. That is a history lesson as to how we came to where we're at now. The reason he asked the question is to have options. The reason I ask you a lot of questions is to know my options, because I don't know all the procurement laws. And so you give us the options, and then you can tell us the reason we're here is because of this, this, and that.
I don't believe we can exempt electric power service provider. We spend more than $50,000 a year.
Well, I'm reading here, it's a government section 252.022. This chapter does not apply to an expenditure for, and that come over here, number 15, electricity.
And which one are you reading?
The Texas Local Government Code, section 252.022.
252.0.22 is cities. We go under 262.
And is that different?
Sometimes it is, yes.
Okay.
So if you'll look at if we could look at 262.022 and see if it says the same language.
Okay, I understood that we did not have to do that. If we do, then that's why I'm asking you.
Okay. If, Judge, since you have it open at that point, how does it start?
What do you mean?
I
No, I
mean-
don't have 262. I have 252.
Right, and no, and I'm asking you to read the 252. Does it say either any political subdivision?
It just says this chapter does not apply to expenditure for, and it lists various things.
Okay.
Marty, I think what you're asking is what does that chapter apply to?
Well,
Yeah.
I understand 252s to be for municipalities. That's what I've always understood. 262 is for counties.
We have several questions. One, what are our duties to the assistant consultant? I think we need our lawyer to tell us what those are, so that we can comply with our duties to them.
Okay.
Then what are our options to go forward to get the best possible rate that we can for our energy costs? We can go out for proposals, we can go out for retailers, we can go out for aggregators, we can do many different things. This Commissioner's Court wants to know what those options are so we can pick the best one.
Okay.
That's
To-
it.
As I understand it, the court gave me direction and agreed and voted to go out to awarded vendors through cooperative pools or aggregation pools. Cooperative awarded vendors or aggregation pools. Now, that was through the consultant. Now, if you want to end that, we have the RFP ready, but we would have to go out on our own, which we haven't never done.
But based on your response earlier, on September 6th, we're on our own anyway if the contract
Correct,
expires.
correct.
Unless
The agent were to
the provider will be-
professionally,
The question is, are we getting $40,000 worth of service per year?
yes, sir.
Okay, that's per year. Okay.
I've never heard.
Well, that's not the only question. It's an important question. And I agree that, I think that number is high. The reason I'm reluctant to go at it solo is because we have no experience. And so it's such a big ticket item. How much, give me a
$2
muscle
million.
Mendoza, how much?
$2 million.
2 million in
Yes, we
energy?
spent $2 million.
And we were at 2.8. We were at 2.8, and it came down to 2 million. So something good happened.
Oh, no, it's because we had been locked into a horrible rate.
Okay.
Yes,
So
we
something
had,
good
and
happened.
the
It was gonna
market-
come down no matter
And the
what.
market
Yeah,
was
something
not
good
favorable at that
happened,
time.
Okay, but if we can still do better,
Sure. What,
why not?
is this an option that the court would consider? And just from what I've heard from different people, that we go out for an RFP for a new energy person. It could be this one. He can submit.
Yep.
And others can submit. When we evaluate them, that'll take, what I can tell is around 6 weeks. That'll get us to September 1st, which is my birthday, in case anybody's.
All right.
And then at that point, there was also a schedule, if y'all saw it in the email, of how long it takes to procure bids, which I think is like 4 to 6 weeks. So that'll get us like mid-October. So we can finish this process. We can hire an energy consultant and go out for bids and have all that before November, before our contract expires, if we start Tuesday.
If we start Tuesday, and by the way,
Hiring the technician, the consultant.
I stand corrected, Judge. The 262 exemption does permit an exemption, a discretionary exemption for electricity. You are correct.
Okay, we get lucky once in a while.
I learn something every day,
Yeah,
Judge.
we get lucky once in a while.
But we can analyze, if it's the wishes of the court, to look at other consultants and have this gentleman, if he so chooses, to submit. If that's the wish of the court, the only reason I'm bringing it up is because of the timelines. We have pretty tough
Well,
timelines.
We can help you, Marty, with that analysis. And, you know, I mean, it's not rocket science.
Yeah, we'll figure that out by the end of the week. What are the wishes of the court with respect to the consultant?
Yeah, I want to clarify my answer. It would be only if there was, this is under the sole source exemption, so there'd only have to be one provider. If it was still just CP&L, then we'd have no, but you have more than one provider. So
Hold on,
my
hold
only
on.
comment,
I had a question.
I just don't know, we need a consultant to go by from Reliant, okay? All right.
well, there's more than just Reliant,
Well,
Judge.
I know that.
But I'm in agreement with Commissioner Cantu in that, let's see who the best, I mean, let's go out there and let it competitively bid, and if they bring in the best bid, then it's no problem.
Who, for the consultant or
For
Yeah,
the,
the consultant and the provider.
And both.
I mean, why are we,
not going to the, so we're going to change it not to be an RFP to awarded competitive, I mean,
I think he's saying that we go out for RFP on the consultant and RFP the electricity separately.
the RFP, electricity is ready. It's ready to go.
Right, but he's
I
saying.
know, but we bring in a consultant, he or she reviews it, says, yes, this is what my experience is to go out the way you're going. We're ready to go, we pull the trigger, but that's after we bring on the consultant.
I know, Commissioner, but your optimum time to negotiate a good rate is summer, not September, October.
Who told you that?
That's, I heard it from a consultant that contacted the judge's office. They're a combination of consultant, retail energy provider. I've known it historically. He showed you the chart, and even when as the consumption starts to go up in November in the north, then your futures are affected. So right now is the lowest consumption that you can get. So you're risking that part. I just want to advise.
But aren't we going, didn't you say we're going out for RFP right now?
It's ready to go, but it's ready to go with we've got it ready. If you decide to terminate the consultant, we will be left alone to evaluate those.
Our business, personal business, is a huge energy user, okay?
Yes.
We buy it over 3 years, and there's a lot of ways to do it. Let's just get a consultant. I'd like to see the proposal. Did you add an aggregator to the proposal, or just a retail energy
You mean send out to
provider?
aggregation pools? To aggregation pools?
Yes.
Yes, we're sending them out to
Okay.
aggregation.
But the one that's going to propose is only a retail energy provider, or is the only one that's going to propose?
You're going to get by board awarded vendors. You're going to get
Co-ops?
different.
Okay, we're going to get anybody that can sell us
It is awarded that
Okay.
energy contract through a cooperative or an aggregation pool. Those are the ones you're going to send
Okay.
to.
And did you limit it to for-profit or nonprofit or both?
No, they're for-profit or not, well, either way, either
You
way.
can have either for-profit
Yes,
or nonprofit.
because aggregation
provider.
pools
All
usually
right.
are that way. Your nonprofits are going to be your Magic Valleys and that type of thing.
Okay, I need a commissioner to make a motion.
So you went on Tuesday's agenda.
I make a motion to put on Tuesday's agenda that we go out for consultants, basically.
Okay, is there a second?
Okay, motion, okay, to terminate the current agreement.
Well,
I didn't
I
say
need
that.
to, I've been quiet, but I want to review that contract
Yeah.
to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I would
Can
say,
can we approve it
Subject-
subject to legal?
Subject to legal.
Subject to
that-
legal,
that-
right.
That making this motion is not gonna show that we're in default of the contract.
Yeah.
right,
But also, if we're gonna have to terminate that with time, then we should also put that on the agenda to send
In
out
the event.
notice. Correct.
Just, okay,
again, subject to legal.
Subject to legal.
Yeah, second.
okay. I've got the copy of the contract with me. So, all right, so that's number one.
Hold on. So we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, you've got a second item, which is your current group health, your group health consultant, who is still here
Open
in
it
the
up for
room.
discussion.
And his contract expires December 31st, this year.
Okay.
No extension.
So why are we talking about it? Oh, it's.
Judge, that's a deputy,
Okay,
please.
I got you. I mean, we need a consultant to take us through this process of bringing in our healthcare plan,
Okay.
our third-party administrator. When is that happening?
As soon as we should be ready to distribute on Monday to the carriers. It's going to be advertised Saturday. We cannot release the packets till Monday.
How long are we giving them to respond?
About 30 days, 3 to 4 weeks. 4 weeks. We're hoping to get this wrapped up and ready before the middle of October. We'd be really pushing it.
So it almost seems that we need to use our consultant now, because to bring in a new consultant, we don't have enough time. Right. And so that if we wanted to make a change or consider other options, then we should put that on which calendar so that we can tickle it this time, Marty? Más o menos. By when? December, October, January?
We usually start anything that has a termination, an expiration date. We usually start the process about 120 days prior or 90 days prior. So we would be sending you notice anyway. We would be putting it on the agenda.
We can already start putting the draft RFP as we have it right now, send it to the court so they can review, and then make whatever changes need to be made to the RFP.
By when do we have to decide on the RFP that we're about to put out for health?
Let's say December.
Because you have to have the enrollment.
Probably
happen.
the
You have
end
to
of
have enrollment in
the-
November.
the
At
end of
the latest, November. We're
Yeah,
already
if-
pushing it.
If you want cards and
Yeah,
Yes,
the
we
end of
need to have
August.
all of
you don't
that.
want lapse in coverage.
Yeah, well, the other thing that happens if we push it too far out, we end up having to have double deductions, because we already,
That's why we started
we deduct
so
a month
early.
in advance.
I
So
got
that's really why we need to, at the latest would be November,
I-
to start enrollment in November.
I kind of feel the same way as Commissioner Cantu. I'm not comfortable going out for bid on health and medical without somebody
Being
really,
in place.
really taking a good, strong look at this.
And it's up for expiration at the end of this fiscal year, so I mean, we can already start looking at that. That way, in case there are any changes to the RFP like we've had for, although the TPA, that's a lot bigger contract than it is just to hire the consultant. I mean, but in case there is any other things that the court would like to consider in adding to that consulting contract, then I think the sooner we start, the better. And that way, if we already get the new consultant, or if he's already going to be there, they can also already know the enrollment process and all of that.
So what exactly is this 2B? Is it to, what's,
It was a discussion item that had been put on the court a week or 2 weeks ago, but you weren't here, and the judge asked that we place it on again because you could be here to discuss them. If there was,
Is there a committee, some kind of committee that can be in charge of this?
pardon me, I'm sorry.
Committee. I mean, do we appoint a committee or something to oversee it?
We can have this, I mean, we always have the
You
chiefs,
can always have the chief of staff already start looking at that.
you and
No, no,
Flora.
Give a recommendation to the
No,
court.
but I think the ones that we've gotten before would be Flora, of course,
Yeah, Florida,
yourself,
myself.
Oh, yes.
and Raúl Segredo, and
Raúl.
Angelica.
Yes, I had Tapia.
To do what?
Usually, we've looked at the
committee.
RFP for this actual RFP.
Besides sending it to
And
the
the
court
chiefs.
and then via
Yeah.
the
Yeah, we usually have the chief on
chiefs
the
of staff.
grading.
I'd like to say something. Being that we're going out for RFPs for insurance for the next 3 years, correct? I certainly would have appreciated you letting us know that we had this contract coming up, that we're going to be going out for RFPs for insurance, and giving us the option whether we wanted to continue with the same consultant or not. Right now, it appears like it's late, but I definitely would like to have had a say in the consultant that is going to be guiding us on something that's going to affect our employees for the next 3 years. And we just learned about this, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that we were going off RFPs and insurance, and I was sideswiped. I had no idea that our insurance was already coming up.
And you're talking about the medical part?
The medical part, yes.
The medical part, we started working with benefits since March,
But when
Commissioner.
were we informed?
In May.
In May?
Yes.
You informed us in May that we were going
We
out
sent
for
out the draft
RFPs?
RFP.
We sent the draft RFP, and that's when
Back
the
in May
court started
25th, I believe.
having questions about it.
It still would have, I believe that the terms, I think, for the consultant and the TPA services, I'm not sure that they all
No.
coincide. I think they might be different. So
No, they
the
do.
timing
They
there.
do.
They do? They're
They're
3 years?
exactly.
3 years for both?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, optional 3 years.
Well, it's 2 with an option to renew for 1, is that correct? Oh, 1?
They're 3
No.
1 year renewals.
They're all individual renewals if you chose to do it.
Right, generally it's
If
1 year.
the initial term is 1 year, and then the option.
We should have been having workshops on where we were with our insurance way back in May. If that's the case, we should have been already informed, this is where we're at. We should have had presentations where our fund balance was at. We should have been collecting data from our employees as far as their satisfaction with the services that they're receiving, not the services, but the benefits that they have, and seeing if we want to make any changes way back in May.
Yes, Commissioner. Duly noted.
Okay, anyone else? I don't think we need to take any action, or do we?
We took action on 1A,
No.
direction on 1A. Now 1B, no action? No direction, rather.
No action?
Okay, I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't see any action to take.
Right.
No one's made a motion, whatever, unless somebody has a motion.
Well, if something comes up, then we can do it on Tuesday if we,
Okay.
something else.
Okay,
Judge,
thank you. We go to.
No, thank you for your time.
Open forum?
yes, sir, we do have an open forum. My apologies, we do have open forum. We have 3 participants. I will remind the audience to please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There is a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there is 1 minute. Our first presenter is Ms. Fern McClarity. No, that's just.
The county has another opportunity to hold the line on the increasing the tax rate. We know that the approved budget plan created by Estrada and Hinojosa and approved by this county calls for a rate increase. The major reason for this rate increase are the bonds that have been sold. 5 series of bonds plus the $190 million drainage bond totals $428,662,124. Only the drainage bonds have been approved by the voters. To this total, we can add the constant salary increases that we see each week, and we have not yet talked about the proposed elevated parking facility. And your annual county budget is not in this $428,662,124. We are hoping you don't raise the tax rate on the taxpayers in Hidalgo County. This county has 40% below poverty. So I can't wait till the census till you find out how many, because it's going to be even more. So think of these people. No wish list. I've been here from the very beginning, and all the departments come in with their wish list. I hope you only consider the needs of the county. And someone up there mentioned the 15 hours for working. Bernie Sanders, I believe, has had to cut some of his staff and the people that are working for him. When y'all think about that $15, are you thinking about the county and who's going to lose their jobs? So when y'all think about this, the little people out there, I always call the little taxpayer the little people, because they're in the trenches, they're working, they're trying to feed their families, they're trying to find a way to keep their homes. And y'all sit up there and you make decisions that cuts their throats. So I'm hoping and praying that you'll think about this during this time of the budget until September. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Ms. Maria Jose Landeros.
Last one?
Yes.
Hello, good morning. Like I said, my name is Maria Jose Landeros, and this is the third week that we have not had translation for the residents that only speak Spanish, and this is important because we want to have a better understanding and communication with you to find solutions to our necessities. So after I explain my brief to you in English, I will go ahead and translate it for them myself. I am a leader of the organization Arise, and I reside in a colonia, also known as a subdivision, called Muñiz, part of Precinct 4. And for over 30 years since it was founded, it has been left in the dark. And today we are here because we believe we deserve to live in a safe and lighted community. And we believe this for all communities throughout Hidalgo County. For that reason, we must invest more in the safety and well-being of our families. We ask that you allocate a minimum of $500,000 for public lighting infrastructure, which is equivalent to 0.25% of the annual budget given to Hidalgo County every year. This is less than 1% of your annual budget. I also ask that you at least give 2 subdivisions per precinct the proper public lighting that it deserves, whether it be an urban location with infrastructure at the back of your properties or not. So thank you for your time and support and collaboration. May you all have a good day. Hola, mi nombre es María José Landeros, y como lo expliqué al juez y a los comisionadores, esta es la tercera semana que no hay traducción a los residentes que hablan español, y es muy importante para poder tener una mejor comunicación y entendimiento para encontrar soluciones a nuestras necesidades. Yo soy una de las líderes de la organización de RISE y resido en la colonia Muñiz, que es parte del precinto 4, en la cual hace más de 30 años que fue fundado y seguimos en la oscuridad. Y hoy estamos aquí porque creemos que merecemos vivir en comunidades seguras y alumbradas en todo el condado de Hidalgo. Por esa razón, necesitamos que se investe más en la seguridad y bienestar de las familias. Les pedimos que se asignen un mínimo de $500,000 para la infraestructura del alumbrado público que equivale a 0.23%, menos de 1% del presupuesto anual del condado de Hidalgo. También les pedimos 2 subdivisiones de cada precinto que sea alumbrado por año, sean vecindades con infraestructura en parte del posterior de sus propiedades o no. Muchas gracias por su apoyo, colaboración y tiempo. Que tengan buen día.
Judge, Commissioners, there's no, that'll conclude today. There is no executive session items to be taken.
We had a third one?
No, just the 2. My apologies. It was the
Okay.
2.
So
Motion
that's
to
it?
adjourn.
We don't have any closed session
No,
items?
sir.
Motion to adjourn then?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.